Good morning, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. We are watching the pound just completely tank. They actually the Bank of England cut their rate, which was unexpected. It was forecast to be 5.5. Well, actually, no, they didn't. They didn't raise it. They just held it. But you can see the pound dropping there. Anyway, good morning, guys. Welcome into the 10K to $2 million funding challenge. It is Thursday, September 21st, 7 a.m. New York time, and I'm glad you're here. I hope you're having a great day wherever you are. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where in the world you find yourself watching this stream right now. We're back at it here every day, Monday through Friday, sponsored by Bespoke Funding Program, one of the best in the business out there. If you're looking to get a challenge, I highly recommend you try Bespoke Funding Program. You can either use the discount code Venator to get 15% off and an 85% profit split, or you can use the affiliate link in my YouTube channel, and that will help support the stream if you want to take advantage of the discounts that they run on their Twitter page or in their Discord group at different times. So sometimes they're better, sometimes mine is better, but either way, you can support the stream either using that discount code Venator or just use that link in the YouTube page. And it will help keep everything here on the YouTube live stream free of charge for you guys to hang out and watch and learn and soak up all of the goodness that is Venator trading. So glad you guys are here. Yesterday we had FOMC. We didn't trade in the afternoon, but this was the FOMC result. Our analysis on Monday was that we expected price to enter up into this daily breaker block, which is our bluish green box. Inside is a daily fair value gap. And we were anticipating a draw up into that daily fair value gap. And we said with FOMC, it wouldn't surprise us if on Wednesday it popped up into the top of that daily breaker, completely filled in this imbalance here, and then it dropped and tanked. That's exactly what happened. I don't trade FOMC and I don't trade afternoon sessions, but I did call this trade out yesterday in the Discord. After the FOMC news came, we had this big drop. We had another 15-minute candle leave behind a nice fair value gap that had created a breaker. And sniper entry on both euro dollar and on pound dollar. Same setup, same play. Both entries were just really, really pretty. And now here we are with our overall draws of liquidity for pound being met. We had identified both swing levels and we said this is our higher time frame draw and liquidity for the week, and both have been met yesterday and now today. And you know, you could expect some continued weakness. You do have, as you look down here, you do have a nice little volume imbalance that it may want to draw into. Below that is another daily fair value gap right below there. Now that we've tapped into this, you know, where does it go? Well, you're going to stick with the bias and you're going to continue to look for sales, and the pound's going to be weak against the dollar. The dollar, until the dollar reaches our higher time frame draw of liquidity up here, which is our relative equal highs, and there is a small fair value gap right there as well. That's our higher time frame draw liquidity for the dollar. So until it hits that, I'm going to be looking. And then after that, we'll have to wait and see. You know, it could just continue. Your next draw on liquidity is obviously the swing levels that exist and your fair value gaps that are, you know, way up here. Don't know that it ever gets up that high this year. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But this is where my eye has been since we have tapped into this way back here in July. This is immediately where I began to look and anticipate price. And I've been bullish on the dollars pretty much since then. And that's just going to continue. This is step one. Tap into this first. So that's what we're waiting for. That's what we'll be looking for. Does it have to do it this week? No. It wouldn't surprise me if it's today or tomorrow, though. And then tomorrow, and then we may go neutral and just kind of not be totally sure what's going to happen. Pound gave a beautiful setup last night on the 15-minute time frame. I don't know if anybody caught this in the Discord, but beautiful, beautiful setup on Pound. You had a run of buy-side liquidity. Where did this run of liquidity start? It grabbed all of these stops up here. Where did that begin? It started right here on this down close candle. Right there. Ran up into liquidity and immediately displaced away. Left behind a fair value gap. Nested inside that breaker. You target an entry at that fair value gap. Close to the 50%, you want to be inside the fair value gap. So it would be right at the touch of that fair value gap. Your stop is above the candle that created the fair value gap. You target a 1 to 2. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. That is a beautiful setup on pound dollar for the London session. Don't know if anybody took that. I know that there was news coming out just now on the pound, and so people may have been waiting for that news to hit, but it was a nice setup. And it was, 3 or 4 hours away from the news dropping. Like yesterday, if we had gotten a setup in the morning, I would have taken it. I just would have been flat by the time, if the trade had not hit stop loss or profit, I would have been flat by the time it got there. And I feel like when news is more than like 3 to 4 hours away, if you can find a setup, you can take them. Just make sure you're flat before. You don't want to get into a trade like an hour before, an hour and a half before. You don't typically have enough time for those trades to play out and get triggered in. So you just need to be cautious there. Euro dollar here now has grabbed buy side liquidity. We're starting to get some displacement away. So my eye goes to this area right here on euro dollar for our breaker to see if we get displacement through this. And then to see if we can continue lower. Because the dollar still has room to run to the top side, we're still expecting weakness on euro, and we would be expecting weakness on pound. There's not really a good setup here right now on pound. You're not just going to want to sell this. There's no good breaker here. The breaker was up here, and it has already played out. So now it's just trending. We would need to see a run of buy-side liquidity and displacement away. That's already happened on GU. So not sure we're going to get much action today on GU, but EU, we could still get a nice setup. GJ is falling and falling aggressively. No real setup here either just yet. UJ, I don't know. UJ still left its draw on liquidity. We have been anticipating this draw of liquidity here on UJ. It's left it in place. Dollar still strong, so I don't know that we get up here on UJ. A lot of the yen pairs, we've talked about this several times on the stream, anticipating some Bank of Japan intervention for their currency. The yen pairs are going to go into a little bit of a free fall, I believe, in the next couple months or weeks or months, and I'm just not sure when that's going to happen. We have a big Bank of Japan. Well, there's a lot of news tomorrow for the yen, for the euro, for the pound, for the dollar, for the CAD. I mean, there's a lot of news tomorrow. Today for the dollar, I think we just have the unemployment numbers come out at 8:30. It doesn't show up here on TradingView for some reason. I don't know why. But it is on the Forex Factory economic news calendar that there is unemployment claims. The first of the unemployment claim numbers come out today at 8:30. So again, not sure why that's there or why it's not showing up on TradingView here, but those numbers are coming out. I got my coffee. I did not. I remembered to put the water in the coffee pot today. So props to me for doing the thing right to make coffee today. So big improvement there. Yeah, so here's our draw on dollar. We've had a gap up overnight. It didn't come down and refill that gap. It doesn't have to. There is some nice sell side liquidity underneath here that it may want to tap into before it runs this. But I mean, it's just beautiful. The analysis this week on higher time frame draws and liquidity has been pretty spectacular. I've loved to see how that has all played out. I mean, it's just been absolutely spectacular. So we're just waiting for our setups now. We're just waiting for our setups to appear. And we know what they look like. We know where our bias is. I'm not going to take a counter trend trade. I'm not going to jump in early. I'm not going to break rules. I'm going to be patient, as always. I'm not here to push buttons and just randomly get into trades just to entertain you. I'm trading these funded accounts and these challenges live on YouTube, and I'm not here to blow them. I'm here to stack accounts. And so I am going to be patient and sit and watch and wait. I know exactly what I'm looking for. And when it happens, we'll call it out. And until then, we're just going to entertain ourselves as best we can. Either looking at other charts or just cracking on people in the chat. So we'll see what happens. The gold, this was gold analysis from earlier in the week. This was our draw on liquidity. It has cleared out buy side aggressively and displaced back through. Still don't have a super clean bias for gold. Choppy is what it is right now. We have cleared out some on the lower time frames, some buy side liquidity. We're displacing through. You know, potentially if you could get a pullback up into this, it already did a little bit right there. It just didn't come back far enough into that to consider that as a breaker. So now what you're waiting for is this draw on liquidity to get tapped into to see what happens. But this run of liquidity here, we displaced through, no fair value gap. So we go to the next. This gets displaced through right here. There is a fair value gap. It just didn't pull back up into that breaker. It did touch the breaker and it did get into the fair value gap. It was just on the lower end. So I probably would have had my entry. I need to zoom in. I keep forgetting that it's so tiny on the stream. All right, so you get this run of liquidity here. You get displacement through. Where did this run of liquidity begin? You could say here, but this is where the liquidity is. So you would say potentially here. Here's your fair value gap. Here's your breaker. For everyone who's still struggling to see breakers. These two candles, these two down close candles are your breaker right here. And inside of that is your fair value gap right there. It's the displacement. Fair value gaps just tell you that there has been displacement through the breaker. And I probably on gold, if I was trading gold, would have had my stop like this. 124. I mean, that's the rules, but it's very tight for gold. I wouldn't have gotten triggered in because I would have been targeting. I want to be as close to 50% of the inside of that breaker as I can. You could have just traded a touch of the breaker. You could have traded a 50% of the fair value gap. There's all kinds of ways that you can do it. But that was the breaker setup on gold. So currently there's not another breaker setup that I would be looking at. And since it's already touched and falling away and about to take out that sell side liquidity, there's really no good setup on gold for me to be looking at right now. Euro dollar is the one that I'm most interested in, quite honestly. And if we get a run up here this morning and then displace through, or if we can just displace through here now, that would be the setup I'd be most interested in. But we'll see. If pound can come up and run some buy side after this news drop and then displace through, I would be looking for a sell there as well. I'm not going to buck the trend and think, oh, it just grabbed all that liquidity. Now we can just do a complete reversal. That's not the way you consider how to enter good trades. All right, let's jump into the chat, shall we? Let's jump into the chat. John Jones, first in the morning. First in, John. Welcome in. Fritz, good morning. ICT Candle Slayer, hello. Haven't seen you in a little while, but welcome back. Corey is in as always. Good to see you, Corey. Adrian, Red Ezekiel, Mr. Alfie. AMBX, good morning. Welcome into the stream, my friend, and thanks for jumping in the chat. Red Ezekiel, I took the trade on GU during London. Good job, Red. Good job, man. It really was just a beautiful, picture perfect setup, super sexy. Run buy side, displace through, leave a fair value gap, target the entry. I mean, it's textbook. It absolutely textbook breaker block right there. I love it. Fib Zone, good morning. Good morning. Welcome back. Beeswax, good morning. Ashok, welcome back in. Good morning. Luvo Dumal, hey, what's going on? Welcome to the stream and thanks for jumping in the chat. Ben A, come on, take a trade. You know me, Ben. I am Brad Do Nothing. This is Venator Doesn't Trade channel. No, Venator trades. He's just extremely patient and extremely picky and choosy about what trades he takes. And I'm not interested in a get rich quick, pass fast kind of mentality. Although this strategy does allow you to pass fast when it is hitting consistently. And so there's also times where we just sit and don't take a lot of trades. We just haven't seen the setups we're looking for frequently here. The summer months have just been brutal on the amount of setups we've gotten, and brutal on the amount of times we've gotten swerved by 1 or 2 pips on our entry. So Ben says 2.5% down on my challenge. Been chopped up by the news all week, taking 2 stupid losses today. Gonna go back to the drawing board, take no more trades this week, and come back fresh next week. That's a good idea when you feel that pressure and when you feel that you hit a losing streak, when you break your rules and you do dumb things. The best thing to do is just close the charts and leave, walk away. The market's not going anywhere. Let your mind calm down, let your emotions calm down, and fresh perspective heading into a new week is really all you need. You got to stop breaking the rules. When you have a trading plan and you have written down your rules and you break them, there are consequences. And probably the biggest consequence there is that you lose confidence in yourself. When you break promises to yourself, the damage that you do internally to yourself is so hard to overcome because you can't lie to yourself. And confidence as a trader is extremely important to not lose, because when it's lost, you start to question everything. You start to question your analysis. You start to question your ability to control yourself, your emotions, to be disciplined, to follow the plan. And it just is this self-defeating cycle of, well, you've already broken your promises before. You're probably just going to break them again. So why would you even want to take this trade right now? So you got to stop breaking promises to yourself. You got to stop breaking the rules. It is so detrimental to your trading career, not just to your challenge. You see the consequence live on your challenge. That is a consequence. But there is a deeper pain that comes when you break your rules and you break your promises to yourself. You are self-harming your emotional intellect and your just your overall mindset and psyche gets trashed when you break your rules and you break your promises. You have to rebuild all of that work and effort you put in to become disciplined can just get wiped away in one day of breaking your rules. And now suddenly you begin to re-examine and re-question everything moving forward. It's just hard. It's just very hard to do. So you can't let that little 5-year-old emotional brat take control and make decisions for your accounts. It is just a massive danger waiting to happen. It's just not a good idea. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. All right. So euro dollar, really what we're waiting for is just waiting for that displacement to happen. And we'll see if we can find a setup there. Mista Rajas, welcome in, my friend. Welcome to the stream, and thanks for jumping in the chat to say hi. Red says, yeah, it's so clean. Raifan, done for the week. Good, Raifan. Hopefully you've had a good trading week. And hopefully your accounts are doing well. Bialamansky, good morning, my friend. Welcome in. If you're not hitting at least 10 R a day, are you even trading for real? I mean, that's what most people would have you believe, that you should be making 10% a day, or you should be hitting these massive home run 10 R trades. And that's just not reality. That's not what profitable traders consistently do. Do not believe the internet gurus that show you their 10R or 20R or 80R trades. They're not doing that. No one is. Shadow, good morning, my friends. Shadow Trades, welcome in, and got the new 25K account with Bespoke yesterday. Gave out the 25K account to Shadow on Discord. He has been extremely active over there and just consistently posting good trades, good setups, answering people's questions. It was between him and LOL, quite honestly, and it was a hard decision. Just went with my gut, but we may do another one next month. So you guys stay active in the Discord over there this next month, and maybe you'll see your name called out for a 25K account next month. So, but good job, Shadow, and I wish you the best of luck trying to get that challenge passed. So you've got great analysis. You understand your strategy. Now it's just going to come down to execution and discipline to see it through. So Ben says, yeah, well said. I'm very patient when waiting for my area to get traded into before taking a trade. I can go days without a trade easy, but when price gets to my area, I get bad FOMO and impatience and don't wait for my proper confirmation and get in early. Definitely something I need to work on. I used to struggle with that too, is just I would anticipate my setup. I would think, like on this pound dollar trade right here, right? I would have, as soon as I saw, what I would used to do is wait and say, as soon as I saw this run of liquidity, and as soon as maybe this down close candle closed bearish, it didn't displace through and create a breaker. I thought it would. I would just sell right there. Well, price can easily just continue to run more buy side liquidity. You have to wait for that confirmation. And I would get burned so many times not waiting. And so you just get to a point where you realize that you're doing more damage to yourself just by not following your rules. Like, you have very clear, consistent rules that give you an edge in the market. And for whatever reason, your subconscious brain convinces you that today those rules don't matter. And you get super sloppy and you get burned by it. So it happens. It happens. So one thing that I'm watching right now on Eurodollar is displacement through this. And the issue that I see, and you guys may see it as well, is that on the 15 minute, it's leaving behind this massive wick, which means there's no way we're going to be able to get a fair value gap created on the 15-minute time frame. And this is an opportunity for you to drop down into the 10-minute and into the 5-minute. So we have to wait for the 15-minute candle to close. And it needs to close outside of this breaker block right here, which is actually this down close candle right there. So we're going to need some displacement and a closure below this down close candle for us to have a setup. But then once we do, we can drop down to the 10-minute and we go, oh, nope, there's still a wick. There's no fair value gap. What about the 5? Hello. Hello. Hello, sexy little fair value gap. I like it. So this is the setup that I would be looking to take and work with right here. On the 15-minute time frame, anytime, a lot of times when you see long wicks on these higher time frames, you drop down. Those are fair value gaps on other time frames. So that's exactly the setup I would be looking for. I need this 15-minute candle to close, and then we'll consider a setup here. Luvo says, can you look at dollar CAD? We will in just a minute. Yes, sir, my friend. Mistar Russia says that was being incredibly facetious. I get it. No, we're all about sarcasm here on the Venator stream. I can spot sarcasm a mile away. I get you. Ryfin says, passed the TFT phase 2 today. Nice. Good job. Funded. Good job. And 6% up on phase 1 with Bespoke. Good job, Ryfin. You're smashing it right now, man. Want to see some more certificates in that trophy room. Let's go. Funded on TFT. Way to go, baby. Mr. Russia's, let's go. Mr. Partha, hello, everyone. Welcome. Happy to be here. Glad to have you. Shadow Trade says thanks. You bet. All right, so we're sitting here watching and waiting. Again, we need this 15-minute candle to close out bearish here. And then we will continue to look for sells. Gold thrashing through that sell side liquidity here. Just a couple more minutes here on this candle. We'll see what happens. But currently, again, I need it. You're going to want displacement through this 15-minute breaker, and you don't have it. It may take another 15-minute candle. Tomorrow, we'll be giving away a 10K account. We do that every Friday. We give away a 10K account. And we can do that because of our sponsor, Bespoke Funding Program, gives us these accounts to give away to our viewers. So continue to support the stream. Continue to pump it, like it, share it. Continue to use Bespoke Funding when you get a chance. If you want to take a new challenge, definitely use that link and or use that discount code Venator. I do everything that I do here out of the goodness of my heart. I want to help you guys, and not and for free of charge. I don't want to make struggling traders continue to pay to get this to figure it out. It's what I wish I would have had. I wish I would have had someone that could sit there every day, every session, show me exactly what they're doing. Really more from a mental standpoint, a mindset standpoint, a patient standpoint, a psyche standpoint, not necessarily a trading strategy. While this is a good trading strategy to use, and that it's consistently profitable, and over a long sample of trades will be profitable. It's not about the strategy. It's about the execution of a professional trader, a profitable trader. That's what this stream is about. And that's what I hope you guys are learning. I think most of the guys that are here, they don't necessarily use the breaker strategy. They have their strategy. They're here because, number one, it's a cool community. People are hanging out. We're active in the chat. We're really building a nice little trading family here. And people are getting to know each other and supportive and encouraging and helpful. That's happening. But it's also just because, there's not many people that do this every single day on YouTube and have done it as consistently for 100 streams. Coming up on 100 streams next Tuesday, which, by the way, we're giving away a 100K account if you're new here or you're just jumping in because of that. That's happening next Tuesday. We will be giving away our largest account ever, a 100K Classic Challenge with Bespoke Funding to celebrate our 100th live stream. So a lot of cool stuff happening and a lot of good things to look forward to. Pound is going to continue just to fall. Again, this volume imbalance may be where it wants to reach for this week overall. We'll see about that. Again, once the dollar reaches up into this area, there's a daily fair value gap right above these relative equal highs. Once it gets there, it wouldn't surprise me if you get a little pullback. But we're going to need to see a higher time frame change of delivery here. Very strong uptrend, very steep trend line to work with. So there's a lot of liquidity under here that if the dollar wants to continue to go higher, you could see a retrace back through before that happens. The FOMC interest rate, they held it at 5.5% yesterday, but they did say that they anticipate another hike. Inflation is still rising here in the States. They do not have it under control yet. And that means more interest rate hikes. And that means a stronger dollar for the near term future. So just stick with it. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to change. Until you see inflation start dropping rapidly, there's really no hope that the rate for the dollar is going to change, which is going to keep a strong dollar. But man, when they start dropping the interest rate, this thing is going to, what it's doing right here is what it's going to do as soon as they start cutting rates. This thing's just going to get trashed. All right, so that's what we're just watching and waiting here at this point. That 15-minute candle did not close below the breaker, so there's no valid setup there currently. We're going to need to see this 15-minute candle close outside this breaker before we could consider a setup there. The indices were not happy yesterday. After all of that, let me jump up here to the higher time frame. This fair value gap, it's just been trading in between these two fair value gaps. So this is a BPR fair value gap. So you have overlapping fair value gaps right here. That's what a BPR is, a balanced price range. It's come back down, acted as support. It's reaching back down into that area now. So we'll see how price reacts at this level again to see if it holds us support. If we just get into this chop again, we're just kind of moving in between. You can see very clearly we're moving in between these two zones. This daily fair value gap has become an inverted fair value gap. As price came back down to it, it did not hold price up, got traded through. As it's come back to it, this inverted fair value gap has acted as resistance. Price cannot close back above it and has pushed price back down. So I think for the indices, this drawn liquidity here is where it's probably going to want to reach for, considering the dollar still has quite a bit of strength in it. I don't know that it gets there this week. That's a pretty big move. These are daily candles. That's probably next week or the week after, maybe into October. We'll see how that plays out, but it could just hit here again and then just start climbing back higher into this range right here. So Mr. Raha says, you're doing the Lord's work, bro. I don't know if it's the Lord's work. I do that when I'm not trading. This is just me doing what I do. It says I've missed about a week of your streams. How's your evaluation coming along? Well, I mean, we're still in drawdown. We've been in drawdown since July. So 2.5 months of drawdown. We haven't blown accounts. We are still in a really good spot. If we win our next trade, we'll be in profit on the 100K. And we'll be back to break even on the two 10Ks, the funded and the challenge. So I'm not worried about it. Everything's cool. Everything's good. And just chilling. That's all we're doing every day here. Just sitting and waiting for our setups. We have been swerved, I don't know, I feel like 4 or 5 times that we should have already passed and gotten another payout. Had we not been swerved, that would have been the case. But it happens. It's part of the game, part of the business. You get your entry or you don't get a trade, and there's nothing to do about it. And so that's happened quite a few times. But Mr. Alfie, are you trading through the unemployment news at 8:30? I thought it was one you avoided. I will wait for the 8:30 news. I'm not going to take a trade here. Just talking through the setups as I see them currently. We have about an hour until that unemployment news comes out. So, yeah, we will. Yes, even if this had been set up, I wouldn't have called this as a trade because of that news. I was aware of that. I was just saying, that's not going to preclude me from talking about where breaker setups are, if that makes sense. What's up, Victor? Welcome in, man. Thoughts on gold? We gave them a little earlier in the stream. There's no good breaker setup for me. This area right here was the best setup for a breaker. Either off of these 2 down close candles or this down close candle right here. That was the opportunity to get in on gold. It has now tapped into its sell side higher time frame draw on liquidity underneath these relative equal lows and back into this fair value gap. So it's obviously grabbed buy side liquidity and displaced through. If you want to look for a higher time frame breaker, that would be right here. And it's already tapped into that. Once this candle right here closed and displaced through, this candle left behind a fair value gap on the 4-hour time frame. This candle pops up into that fair value gap, into that breaker, and then trades back down through. So now your attention comes to this 4-hour breaker, which is really an 8-hour breaker. I mean, I guess you could say it's this candle right here, but I'd probably use these. Could be a 4-hour breaker. We'll need to see how this 4-hour candle closes, which is 2.5 hours from now. So seems to be bearish. You've popped into buy side and you're displacing through. So that's a reversal marker when you see that. On the 1 hour, I don't know. I think for me, for gold, I probably am more bearish than anything, but the setups have already happened. The plays have already taken place. So now it's for me to participate in gold, it's a sit and wait. I would need to see an old high get taken. I need to see buy side liquidity get taken and then displacement away. Like this right here. Up, down. I need to see that again on gold before I'm looking for something else. But you're bearish. You do have, I mean, you could trade OTEs, you could trade order blocks, depending on what your entry is. You could trade gold. And if you're bearish, you just want to make sure you're selling in a discount. I'm sorry, you're selling in a premium. So if you want to trade an order block, if you want to trade This is an order block on gold. As this candle closes in the next 20 minutes, it immediately creates a bearish order block right here. So you could anticipate, a trade back up into here, or a trade back up into this top candle right there. Any pullback up into those areas you could be selling if you're an order block trader or an OTE trader. Optimal trade entry, just wait for price to get into a premium, identify a fair value gap, enter, put your stop above the swing. There are some very simple mechanical trades that play out all of the time. If all you did was pull a fib from swing high to swing low, and you entered above in a premium, you identified a fair value gap, you targeted or just targeted the optimal trade entry, whatever it is, there's all kinds of ways to trade with the trend. Pick one, make a set of rules based around it, and trade it. For me, I'm looking for breakers. The breaker setups have already happened, so I'm not going to take a trade on gold. I would need to see another run of buy side liquidity, but it does seem to be bearish overall, especially after this pop of liquidity. Your run buy side immediately return and displaces through that low. Right here, there's your return to the breaker inside the breaker right there. Tiny fair value gap right there, and it falls away into sell side liquidity. Obvious sell side liquidity targets below there. I would probably jump down to the 4 hour. You've got quite a few buy side imbalances here that maybe gold wants to rebalance. For me, gold is moving more sideways than anything on the 4 hour. It's not going up or down. So these are internal liquidity moves that you're seeing, which can be harder on determining bias overall, which is why I've said I don't really have a super strong, clear bias on gold. When you look at the daily, it's moving sideways more than anything. It's grabbed buy side, it's grabbed sell side. It was, until right now, right back up inside the middle of that junky range, and it's dropping away from it now. So no super clear trend direction on gold, but short term probably bearish. Short term probably bearish. It's what it appears to be. Misa says a trader's metal is tested during periods of drawdown. It's a good thing because it'll allow novice traders who watch your stream to see what real trading is. That's the hope. That's the hope. While I was hoping we could have gotten out of drawdown. We've been in drawdown almost every single challenge that we've taken. The very first 10K challenge we did, we were in drawdown in phase 1, in phase 2. In the funded account, we were in drawdown. In phase 1 of the second 10K challenge, we were in drawdown. We've been in drawdown every step of the way, and we get out of it and we hit our take profit. This one has just taken forever to get out of, but it'll work out just fine. I don't care how long it takes. I really don't. In the long run, a year from now, if we're funded $1 million, it doesn't matter if we look back and see 2 months of drawdown. If you're cashing in payouts of, 20, 30K, because you have $1 million and you're making 2 to 3% a month. So it's all good. It's all good. You have to keep the long game in perspective. So, all right. Somebody wanted to look at dollar CAD. I can't remember who that was, but let's pull that up. I can't type. I always put an extra S on there. Dollar CAD, I'm definitely bullish on the dollar, which means I'm going to be looking for opportunities to buy the Canadian dollar. Very interestingly here, we tapped into the buy side draw of liquidity that we identified. We've done CAD. CAD has been, dollar CAD was a chat pair a little while ago. We're expecting it to tap into this buy side liquidity and then pull back. We have now pulled back. We've grabbed sell side. Because I'm bullish on the dollar, I would anticipate that this is a stop hunt, and now that we've tapped into sell side liquidity, we displace through this level. So that's what I would be looking for with dollar CAD, is a continued push up. My very first, if we take out, let's take all this crap out because that's already been done. This volume imbalance, interestingly enough, was left and is what pushed price down. Touched it and then just fell away. So on the buy side, this order block needs to get traded through, and that would create a breaker. It's an order block. It's a bearish order block right now. Up close candle, we close below. If price cannot close and break through that, you would anticipate weaker prices on dollar CAD. Because I'm bullish on dollar currently, I would think that this does get traded through. That would create a bullish breaker, meaning once this order block gets traded through, we would look at it as to act now as support as price comes back down to it to push it back up. So I think potentially this was just a big stop hunt. And on the weekly, you can see why. We're in an uptrend on the weekly. We've come back down. We've tapped into a weekly fair value gap right here. Higher time frame tells the story. On the daily, you're like, oh, but it broke structure. We've changed and we should be bearish. We should be looking for sells. No, look at the weekly. What are we doing? We've come up. We put in a higher high. We're anticipating putting in a lower low. Where would that lower low be? At a discount of this leg. It would be at a discount of this leg. What did it do? Reached into a discount. What is that discount at? Sitting at a fair value gap. Taps into that fair value gap and immediately finds support and runs away back up. So for me, I'd be looking for buys here on pound CAD. This is really sloppy, ugly. There's not a good setup here for me. There's not a clean. Yes, we ran sell side. Where's the displacement? After we've touched into this, there's just no clear displacement. It's just chop, chop, chop. Now we've broken through and made new highs, but there's no clear target in here to use for a breaker here. Like there's nothing clean. There's no fair value gaps. There's no clean displacement away. So to me, dollar CAD looks, while I still feel bullish, I'm not just going to buy. There's no setup. There's no breaker setup for me to look at. You might have a different entry technique to get in on that. But at this point, because we're breaking out, I would wait for pullbacks and then try to target something else. But John says, Brad, let's say you were long in gold right now. Where do you think it's headed? If I was long in gold, if I had a long, I guess what your question is let's say I had a bullish gold bias. Where do I think it's headed? Probably would anticipate this 4-hour order block and this fair value gap holding up price. If I was bullish, I would anticipate that fair value gap to hold and then send prices back up into these swing levels here. One reason I'm more bearish than anything is because we failed to display. We grabbed the buy side liquidity here above this high, and we displaced. And then when we came back to it, we failed to displace again. So there was no displacement above this high. Liquidity grab, bam, come back to it one more time, reach right back up into that same area, failed to displace again, and now we're getting an aggressive move down. But if I was bullish, then I would look to see this probably fair value gap and this order block hold up on the daily time frame, which would mean somewhere down in here, I would anticipate a reversal to happen, and then I would be targeting this high up here eventually around 1952 on this 8 cap chart. This could be a seek and destroy profile. You grab buy side, you grab sell side so that it can run up here. If you were bullish and you were like, hey, this is where price wants to draw to, we see this happen a lot where price runs right up to an area of liquidity, and before it runs it, it stops. And what's it do? It runs back down, picks up more orders, traps in some sellers, and then bull rushes the liquidity above. So if you were bullish, that would be where my eye is up here on this area. But you're going to need to see lower time frame confirmation wherein this looks like a market maker sell model to me, where you have this area of accumulation, manipulation, distribution, consolidation, smart money reversal. Now you're going to be looking for these lows, I think, or at least this area right here to get retested on gold. If you're looking at this from a market ICT, it's an ICT concept. It's called the market maker X model. So it could be buy or sell. But this is, with this smart money reversal here, this is kind of where my eye goes to initially on gold. But yeah, your higher time frame bias is what you have to embrace, and it's the warm blanket that comes around you when you're worried about what are you doing. Just go back to your higher time frame bias. If you don't have one, then don't trade this pair. Don't trade it until you have a clear higher time frame bias. Don't trade the asset that you don't know what to look for, and then you're going to be constantly second guessing every liquidity run, every stop hunt. Well, is it going to reverse, or is this a breakout to continue a trend? So getting that higher time frame bias and those higher time frame draws of liquidity are essential to making sure you can start avoiding more and more losses. So this does look like a market maker sell model to me with that stop hunt right there. Our little 5-minute fair value gap, look at it doing its work right here, holding price down. Look at the little baby fair value gap. GeoFX, welcome in. Welcome in. Thanks for being here on the stream, and thanks for dropping in the chat and saying hi. Ben A says, congrats on 1,000 subs. Thank you, my friend. I am very happy about that. I'm very proud of that. It's not a lot of subs in the grand scheme of things, but it is for me. I just started 4 months ago. Did not exist anywhere on social media publicly. I followed people, but I never posted, never did anything. And so in 4 months to go from Corey, our OG viewer, one viewer for a couple of weeks. That was all I had. 0 for like the first week. And then Corey jumped in on the second week, and he's basically been here ever since. And now we consistently have, I don't know, a couple hundred people pop into the stream over every single day. And we're averaged in between, somewhere between 30 and 50 viewers a day, just consistently all the time. But we typically have a couple hundred people that pop in every single day. So glad to have them. And I am super pumped about the 1,000 subs. I was able to become fully monetized. I got the email from YouTube letting me know that the channel is now fully monetized. So we've got the super chat, the super stickers, which obviously no one cares about. I could actually sell merchandise now on the channel, so I can sell some Venator merch. I just haven't set it up. I haven't done all that. But now we're able to get ad revenue, which quite honestly is not going to be very much. Not until we have thousands of subscribers or thousands of people watching the videos. So I think you get paid a certain amount per 1,000 views. And I don't even think I have any video that's got over 1,000 views right now. So, but it's just a cool milestone marker. And I thank you for the congratulations. it is important to me. It's an important personal milestone. So kind of cool. Man, that little 5-minute fair value gap is so on the 15-minute time frame. We didn't get a closure below this breaker. So even if there was a 15-minute fair value gap, and even if there wasn't news, probably wouldn't have taken that trade because of that candle right there. Did not close. It closed bullish back inside that breaker. Probably would not have taken that. Even if there wasn't news coming out in about 30 minutes. Not a picture perfect setup. 30-minute time frame, we may still get a setup on the 30-minute time frame potentially. It got a nice fair value gap here on the 30-minute breaker. Runs by side, displaces through. So we'll watch and wait. You do have that fair value gap right there on the 30-minute. Might be it might be what we need today. We'll see. All right, what else? What else in the chat, guys? What else can we talk about and entertain ourselves with? Work smart, not hard says, come to think of it, isn't this the 100th live stream? Well, not for the $10K to $2 million funding challenge. So there are 3 live streams that I did before I started this specific challenge, and they were really more just tests, and I've left them up there, but I'm probably going to take them down only because they're just, I mean, they were really just they were kind of just tests for me to make sure everything was working, that the stream worked. They weren't part of this $10K to $2 million funding challenge. So that's for the $10K to $2 million funding challenge. This is Tuesday will be the 100th live stream. Thank you. Another serious question. If you were long in oil right now, where would you see it targeting? I would. So I've always said, again, look what's happened here. These relative equal highs are where I would be targeting, John. So what is that? 93.78 on this chart. But these relative equal highs right here are exactly where I would want oil to go to. You keep seeing this. You see price run up to an area of liquidity, and what happens? This happens over and over and over again. People just keep buying. They're like, oh, look, it's going to go right there. And then what's it do? It reverses, pulls back, grabs some internal liquidity before it runs that aggressively. So that's where I would be looking to go long. If I was long on oil, that's exactly where I would anticipate above this old high and into these relative equal highs right there. That's where I would be looking for oil to go. Oil has tapped into the sell side liquidity, come back down into this daily fair value gap right there, almost touched it again. And now it's pulling back. If you were, I mean, you're really kind of on an hour time frame. It's setting up for a beautiful little breaker block right here on the hourly time frame. If this candle closes above, the next hour candle leaves behind a fair value gap. There's your oil breaker right there. You're going to want, if you're on the hourly time frame, you're going to want to see a fair value gap left and then use that as an entry to start running higher. 30-minute, not a good setup. 15 has already done it, actually. 15, you had your breaker right here. Well, it wasn't super clean, but that is a breaker. It just didn't leave behind the fair value gap. Last up close candle, run sell side liquidity, displaces through. The fair value gap was right down here at the bottom of that breaker. So I guess technically you could have used that if you had used these 3 candles together. I guess you could, because they're all up close candles. So I guess technically you could have used that fair value gap to get long on that 15-minute breaker right there. And you could easily hold. I mean, there's a lot of room to run up here. I mean, if you've got the cojones to do that, that's the initial target up here, is the swing high at 91.01. But that's a pretty long hold at a 1 to 7 RR there. I would probably wait and look for this. Oops, excuse me, I hit the wrong button. I would wait for the hourly probably and frame this as a swing on an hourly and use something like this. Probably that's what I would be looking at as a trade. It's still a 1 to 4.6, which is really good. But this is the first target structure-wise that I would be anticipating oil to get to. You're going to want to, this is why I go for 1 to 2s, because you're going to want to, somewhere around these fair value gaps, you would anticipate price to stall out a little bit potentially. These could also be, you could also use these fair value gaps if they get violated and traded through. You could use those as entry points, just as an inverted fair value gap. So anyway, yeah, I would be bullish still, and I would be looking at this swing and then these higher time frame relative equal highs. Nice pullback here on oil to set up for that long bull run right up there. $30-minute doing its work. That 5-minute fair value gap, y'all. Displacement through on the 15, we just didn't get it, but that beautiful entry right there. These lows obviously are your first draw on liquidity, but it wouldn't surprise me if it takes this out either today or tomorrow. Dollar still is still climbing up, slowly climbing up to that relative equal high up there. Don't know if we get there today. Maybe the unemployment news pushes it over and then you get a TGIF reversal after you get that liquidity run. So we'll see. But man, beautiful little entry on that fair value gap. It just didn't. Number one, you have the news. Number two, the setup didn't form on the 15-minute. You didn't get that closure down there, but analysis is spot on. The technical setup is spot on and playing out nicely. A new trophy room post? What's there? Really? Hey, look at that. Rifan putting up his trophy room post, man. Certificate of Achievement, the funded trader. We hereby present the certificate to Muhammad Rifan, who has successfully completed the Rapid Challenge Phase 2 and is now a funded trader. Way to go, man. Dude, that's awesome. And then Owen. Hey. Owen locking in a 100K. Dude, that's so cool, man. Look at you guys. Look at you guys. 100K account, baby. That is that's some significant capital to work with there, Owen. So good luck. Way to go, man. Very cool. 2 new certificates in the trophy room. That's what I love to see. I want to see more in there. I want to see more of you guys doing that. Look, if these guys can do it, all of you can do it. Every single one of you. Every single one of you can do it. If you're not in the Discord, I'll put that invite in here. Give me 1 second. There you go. There's the Discord. You can join over there if you're not in that Discord. But yeah, I want to see your trophies go up in there. That's awesome, Owen and Rifan. Thanks for posting those in there. And thanks for being part of the Venator family. And good luck on those funded accounts, guys. I want to see those payouts when you get them. John says, okay, but I want to TP before that. Anything on a lower time frame? Oh, on the oil, on the lower time frame, if you were long, obviously, I think, you know, it's taken out some buy side, all the buy side liquidity targets. These old highs, those are your initial TPs. If it can clear these old highs on the 15-minute, then, you know, I would probably look up at 30-minute and 1 hour fair value gaps. So probably this 1 hour fair value gap right here, or maybe around 89.70, somewhere between 89.60 and 89.80. That fair value gap in there might be the first place I would want to look for to maybe get flat or take full TPs if you don't want to hold for that higher time frame draw on liquidity. Unfortunately, also in gold. Sorry, man. I'm now not in gold. Sucks. Yeah, after that big pop on gold, I would not be looking to get long. When you see this run and displacement, this right here is exactly, that's a stop hunt. Like that should immediately be a signal that we're not going to go higher than that right now. As soon as you see this come up and then you see immediate displacement away and then you see a break of that structure right there, that's a signal to get short, not get long. So I'm sorry you took a loss there, but I see that and I'm like, ooh, this is a run of liquidity and displacement. That's a very clean and clear signal. We're heading down, probably back down into this area at least, maybe these lows, but probably a retest of this whole chunk of mess right there. But maybe your oil trade can recoup that for you. It says, yeah, I agree. It wasn't a good trade. I had it set up overnight. Oh, I see. Yeah. My analysis wasn't correct last night before I went to bed. I need to get better analysis. Well, maybe not. I mean, yes, you were wrong, but you're going to be wrong. Your analysis is never going to be 100% correct. So it's not necessarily that you need better analysis. For me, like I said, gold overall is super choppy and just there is no clear bias. There's no clear trend anywhere on gold. So that's one reason why I would probably say, ugh. If there's no clear bias, then drop down to the lower time frames and wait for moves like this to happen, and then try to trade in a lower time frame direction of that kind of a setup right there, or a setup like this where you see a run of liquidity displacement away. You're like, okay, now that's a setup we can get involved in. Yeah, but anyway, it's just super choppy. No, I look at gold and I'm like, I don't know, but you look at euro, dollar, and pound and you're like, obvious downtrend. I know where the draw on liquidity is. So just stick with those pairs that have that really super clean draw on liquidity where there's not a lot of guesswork to it. There's not a lot of, I don't know, maybe. Having multiple pairs, it's easier to get that. Like oil, super clean, super clear, great setup. And you took it. So great analysis, you know? Just because you were wrong on gold doesn't mean that you don't have good analysis. 30% win rate, as long as your risk reward ratio is okay, you should be right around break even if you have a good risk reward ratio at 30%. you should be just maybe slightly in drawdown or right at break even if you have a good RR, at least 1 to 2. What is it? What, 35 or 33% win rate at 1 to 2 is break even. Anything over 33% is in profit. So if you don't have at least 1 to 2, you might be in trouble. But if you're at 1 to 2 or higher, you should be basically a wash. All right, we got about 20 minutes till those unemployment numbers come out. This 30-minute time frame has given us a beautiful setup. So we'll see what happens at the news. But basically, you've got this fair value gap on the 30-minute time frame. You have a run of liquidity. It didn't like aggressively run it, but it tapped into this fair value gap, ran this liquidity right here. We've had displacement through now on the 30-minute time frame. We still have lower time frame draws of liquidity below us. So you potentially have a setup here, but we're going to wait until the news hits before we would do anything. The one thing that doesn't look super appetizing about this trade is these relative equal highs up here on the 15-minute. News could get you, and this is why we're not going to trade the news. News could pop up and grab that buy-side liquidity and clean out those stops. Anybody that was short yesterday from FOMC, guess where their stop is? The London high. They've moved, if they're still in profits from FOMC, if they got lucky, all of their stops are sitting up here. So you could get a news pop of unemployment up into that. This is why we don't trade news. But this is, we'll see what happens with that first 15-minute candle on news. We may get a nice little a play. We'll let that first 15-minute candle play out, and then we'll look for setups. So we got about 3 more 15-minute candles before we're going to be able to start hunting. If you haven't hit that like button, I would appreciate it if you do. It is very simple and easy to do. You just move that. If you're on a computer, just move that mouse over, hit that little thumb. If you're on your phone, it's just one little tap. One little tap. One little tap. What's up, Saeem? Good evening. No apologies for being late. You get here when you get here. Nobody's keeping roll. We're not tracking it, my friend. But I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're in. GFX says looking keenly on pound dollar. Pound dollar. I mean, again, there's no breaker set up here for me. I would need to see a run of buy side liquidity, then displacement. Maybe you get that with unemployment. You get a run of buy side, and then you get displacement. But right now, there's nothing. Saeem says this month I caught all the losers but got swerved when it came to the winners. Same, man. Look at this right here. It's same, Saeem. Same. Got swerved on all the trades that hit TP and got triggered on all the losses. It's part of the business. It doesn't mean you're a bad trader. It doesn't mean you have bad analysis. Sometimes that's just what happens. And that's why you have proper risk management to survive those downturns, to survive those drawdowns, to survive those losing streaks. That's why you have good risk management. You still have your account. You still have more than half of your drawdown to go, so you're good to go. You're going to hit 3 or 4 of those in a row where you don't get swerved. And it won't matter what happened right now. You won't even be thinking about it anymore. It will just be a point of reference for future to remember exactly what you went through and the mental fortitude that you built, the mindset that you built, the discipline that you built, all of that. It's happening right now. It's getting built right now. The confidence to continue to do what you're doing it's built in the hard times. It's built in the pain. Oh gosh, string or fuzz in my mouth. What's up, Trading Night? Welcome in, my friend. Welcome in. Good to see you in the chat. There it is. All right, this 15-minute candle has closed, and now we just we sit and wait. TXY, those unemployment claim numbers could just push it right up into that, and then who knows what happens from there. John says it's like fishing. I think I've got a lunker, but really it's an old boot. Great analogy, John. You're like, oh man, oh, I got something. Yeah, you reel it in and it's a limb. It's a stick. It's a boot. Dunamis Crypto, good morning. Welcome in, my friend. Thanks for being in the stream and watching, and thanks for hopping in the chat and saying hi. In the process of reading it, I made a bird's nest. Oh, reeling it in, I made a bird's nest. Yeah. Oh, gosh. Dude, I have not been fishing in a long time. I used to go fishing all the time with my boys. And my grandfather is the one who got me into fishing. He was a huge fisherman. Taught me everything I know about fishing, which, quite honestly, it's not a lot. But I love fishing. Spinning bait, getting the cast, sitting on the water, whether you're catching nothing or not. It is a great place to go and relax and just chill. And when they're hitting and it's fun, of course. But down here where we live close to the Gulf in Houston, obviously. And there's some freshwater fishing and there's saltwater fishing. So you have both, the best of both worlds, really, to do all the fishing that you want here. Galveston Bay, where the Houston Shipping Channel. Houston Shipping Channel is one of the largest shipping channels in the world. It is I think the biggest one in the States as far as shipping production coming in and out. Obviously, huge amount of oil refineries and stuff down here. But there is a ton of good fishing out in the bay, and then of course off the Gulf. Man, people are catching sharks all the time down at Galveston. Right on the beach. People are just swimming and they're just reeling in sharks. I don't get in the water. You get in the ocean, you enter the food chain, man. I'm happy to stay on land where I'm pretty much at the top of the food chain here. Lake of the Ozarks? Oh, yeah, for sure, man. Definitely. One of my favorite TV shows, Ozarks, on Netflix. And obviously, but have never been there to the Lake of the Ozarks. Heard it's beautiful. Maybe one day, my wife and I will get up there, and her family has talked almost every year. Her family talks about renting a houseboat on Lake of the Ozarks for a week or so and just chilling. Have yet to do it, but have thought about it quite a bit. One thing I noticed in my behavior, Saeem says, is that I used to rush for the second entry if I got swerved in the first one. But right now I don't rush. If I get swerved, I'm good with doing nothing. That's what traders do, Saeem. That's a beautiful sign that you are headed in the right direction, that you're doing exactly what you need to do. When you don't get your entry, you don't FOMO and just push a button. You're going to get burned when you do that. Definitely going to get burned when you do that. So don't. Glad to see you. That's a great marker of growth for you, man. And hang on to that. Wear that badge. And just know that you're doing exactly what needs to be done for man, gold. That breaker off of gold right there is just killer. Down close candle, run liquidity, displays through, fair value gaps. entry, collapse. What a beautiful breaker setup. And again, that we're looking at a market maker sell model here. If you pull up the market maker model, look at Google ICT market maker model, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. This is a market maker sell model, smart money. You're going to wait for a return back up potentially into that order block here, and then it's going to continue down into these lows here. That 5-minute fair value gap that we identified, doing some work, man. What a beautiful play. Unfortunate, again, sometimes with the news on big news weeks like this, you just don't get a lot of good quality setups because you can't trade until after the news hits. According to my rules, I'm not going to take any trades until after the news hits. And a lot of times you get the setups that happen right before the news and you're not going to take them, even though they do end up working out. And that's fine. It's okay. Again, it's always good to be able to do the analysis without pushing a button, identify your setups, know what you're looking for, chart it all up, and watch it play out. And then if you get a setup after the news, cool. But just sitting here knowing that the news is coming, you know, quite honestly, I probably wouldn't even be on the charts. If I was not live streaming, I wouldn't be on the charts on Mondays at all. I wouldn't even open the charts on Monday. Monday night, I would open the chart to see what happened and do my analysis for the rest of the week. And then on red folder news days, I probably wouldn't even look at charts until about 15 minutes before the news hits. So right now is about probably when I would be getting on to look for and wait for the news to hit. So, I mean, we've already been streaming for an hour and a half. And you guys are here watching, obviously. But if I was not live streaming, I wouldn't even be here. I would be, I don't know, looking at TikToks or playing Starfield or reading the news or looking at my fantasy football team. So many other things to do rather than just sit and watch candles print over and over and over when you know you can't do anything until the red folder news event passes. So there's no reason to just sit and stare at charts and watch candles print, unless we're just doing the stream and we're hanging out, talking and chatting with each other, right? That's the only reason we're here, is just consistently showing you don't trade. That's the whole point of this stream. I should have just called it the 10K to $2 million funding challenge, hashtag don't trade. That's how you get to $2 million in funding, is by not trading. It's counterintuitive, but I promise you, not trading, I will get there faster than you. John, I grew up there, born and went to high school. Oh, that's cool, man. Beautiful part of the States up there in up in Missouri, the Lake of the Ozarks and all that area, Arkansas, all of that, man. Just beautiful, beautiful part of the country. Kind of jealous, man. That's the geography here in Houston, in South Texas, right here on the Gulf. It's not pretty. It's so flat. There's just nothing pretty to look at. I mean, even if you go to Galveston Beach is ugly. It's not pretty. We're on the dirty side of the Mississippi River, which means as the Mississippi River comes down through the states, as it deposits out through Louisiana and New Orleans, the way that the Gulf works, all of the silt and the mud comes over to the western portion of the Gulf. And so we have dirty beaches, it's not dirty. It's just dark water. It's kind of muddy, silty water. And on the east side towards Alabama, Georgia, Florida, all of that, Mississippi, beautiful beaches, white sand, clear water. So even the beaches here in the Gulf, until you get down like towards Corpus Christi and get closer down towards Mexico, the Mexican border down there, South Padre Island, all of that, the water doesn't really clear up. It's just not pretty. Now it's huge. You see the ocean, you're on the ocean. So you can, you go out, a quarter of a mile or a mile offshore, beautiful water, beautiful blue water. But, just enjoying the beach itself, it's not a great place to look at. So when I see or hear people live in other parts of the world and they send us pictures of where they live or they tell me where they're at, I get very jealous of the views that you get to wake up to every day. And growing up in the Lake of the Ozarks is definitely something to be like, man, that's a beautiful place. GFX says, that's the stage I'm fighting, man, controlling emotion. That's probably the stage most failing traders are fighting. You're not alone, GFX. That is exactly where most people are. Controlling those emotions, not giving in to the false alarms that your emotions are constantly blaring off inside your head. Understanding that they're lying to you, that they don't understand the reality of the situation. You do. They think that you're in danger. They think that there's some pain that it's trying to keep you from or protect you from that does not exist. The pain of not taking a trade, the pain of not being in profit, the pain of losing a trade, the pain of losing profits when you're in a trade. It's all false. They're all lies. And until you can get to a place where you can basically step outside of yourself, look over your shoulder, and understand what's happening to you, you're not going to be able to make wise emotional decisions. Your accounts are going to continue to get wrecked. You're going to continue to break rules, continue to break promises to yourself until you can get emotional control. And really, it's just maturity. It's just maturity. I think overall, as a people and as a culture, we are just emotionally immature people. We have been told that our emotions are the most important thing in our life. The way that we feel is the most important thing. And if we feel bad, we should do something immediately to not feel bad. That's how we're raised. That's what the world teaches us, is that if you feel bad, something's wrong. If you feel bad, you should change it. If your emotions are not in a good place, then do something to fix your emotions. And the problem is that your emotions lie to you. Your feelings are not facts. And but as a culture in every other area of life, that's what we're preached, and it's pounded into us as children. You shouldn't feel bad. You shouldn't feel sad. You shouldn't feel upset. You shouldn't feel angry. You shouldn't feel depressed. And if you feel any of these things, then something is wrong, and you need to immediately do something to not feel that anymore. And the reality is that your emotions are just pointing you to something else that's broken in your life. That's really like anger. Why are you angry? What are you angry about? Anger is just a symptom of fear. You're afraid. Typically, anger is rooted in fear. If you're fearful, what are you fearful about? Why are you fearful? And what is that pointing to in you that you need to work on, not necessarily do to change that feeling? So we're just a very broken culture, society, wherein we feel like our feelings dictate most of our responses in life. And until that changes, you're probably always going to be struggling as a trader, because every time you open the charts, you are immediately faced with pain. Your subconscious brain immediately feels pain when you start to trade. You're not in a trade, so you should be in a trade, because if you're not in a trade, you're not making money. You're not making profits if you're not in a trade. And that's a lie. Well, yes, you're not making profits, but you're making wise decisions by not being in a trade. So anyway, you're not alone. We got news coming up in about a minute here, so we'll get on this and see what kind of setups happen now that we get our unemployment numbers coming out. It's not on TradingView, so I'm going to pull it up on Forex Factory just to see what happens here. We've tapped into this sell side liquidity here on Eurodollar. Will be interesting to see if it wants to pop up and grab anything before we displace lower. We'll just see what happens with the news here. And there it is. You get your pop down. $201. So unemployment claims are coming in lower than expected, which means that the economy's still humming along, which lends credence to the fact that the interest rates probably will get hiked at the future in the dollar. So they were anticipating 224 on the unemployment claims, and they only came in at 201. So not as many people filed unemployment claims as they were expecting, which means that people are still either getting jobs, finding jobs, or keeping jobs, and the economy is still pumping out. The Philly Fed Manufacturing Index came in way lower, though. Interesting. So here's the deal. This breaker on the 30-minute is nice. It's could be a potential little pullback setup there into a new weekly low. On the 15-minute, you do have a new breaker here. Right here, this last up close candle ran buy side liquidity, and now we're getting displacement through it. So even if it doesn't come back up into here, you could potentially look at, on the euro dollar, this candle there as your breaker. It lines up with this 15-minute order block right here. Not a good clean fair value gap anywhere here. There is a nice one on the 10-minute though, right there. You had a nice little fair value gap there on the 10-minute time frame. But this candle needs to close on the 15-minute. We're going to let this 15-minute candle close before anything else happens, because if it closes back up inside, there's no validation for anything. Again, on the 30-minute, I'm going to take this off for a second. Originally, we had looked at this, and it could still potentially be that. You have this as a breaker. You have this as a breaker. Just depends how this candle closes. So we'll just keep our eye on that. We've got about, that candle just opened. We still got about 12, 13 more minutes there. Dollar still pushing up, trying to reach up towards that. Not super aggressive, but it is pushing up. US 30 has reached back down now into this BPR. We're touching it now. S&P showing weakness, NAS showing weakness, gold showing weakness. So all of our biases and directions are still in line with what we anticipated. I still kind of like this setup on the 30-minute time frame here for euro dollar. Pull back up into this order block, right into that fair value gap. I think this is probably the setup I would be looking for on euro dollar right now. You had displacement through this low. This order block was violated, created a fair value gap, and as it comes back up into it, hopefully you could get a pull back up into that fair value gap there. It may just want to get right to that breaker, but that's the setup I'd be looking for. But we'll have to wait and see with some of these candles to close here. It may just want to get into this. If it closes below this breaker right here, it may not want to pull back that far. It may just want to tap into this order block with this breaker. There is that 10-minute fair value gap right here. So we'll watch and wait. I'm going to jump back over to the chat. I'm going to catch up. I know that some of you guys think I'm not watching. I do, but once I start talking, I miss the chat, so I scroll back up. Benji M31, how is it a breaker? It didn't take a swing high. Which one? It did take a swing high. This one took out this swing high right here. This candle took out that high. So those are breakers. It doesn't have to like displace through, but it did take out this high right here. The high on this candle is 06639. The high on that candle is 06643. So it took it out by half a pip. That is enough. Alpha Bridge, yeah, fair value got breaker block, whatever. It's okay, but I want to see some emoji trades. We need some emoji trades, but we need to identify what we want first, and then maybe we'll slap the emojis back on there. Do nothing. Trade smart, not often. 100% GFX. Good morning, David Dreams. Welcome in. Cool Gamer says, to be honest, I don't know if it's a good thing, but I treat trading to some extent as a game. Found it helpful to not minding losses. I mean, there's a lot of gaming theory that goes into profitable trading. Absolutely. It kind of is a video game to some extent. And you've got to be disciplined. You've got to play it the way that you play it. You know, sometimes you're going to get killed and you're going to respawn and you're going to go back at it. That's just part of it. And you can still win the match, even though you get killed 10 times. If you in the match and you've got 50 kills, you win. So there's a lot of gaming theory about that. It's that's not weird or out of place, I don't think. John says, as a teenager, my grandpa was paid by Union Electric to help clear the trees before flooding the area that created. No way, man. That's so cool. Is Lake of the Ozarks where like if you like you could go dive under there and you can see like roads, houses, and the old land like before it got flooded? I can't remember if that's Lake of the Ozarks or that's somewhere else where they've flooded, like they've created lakes with dams, man-made lakes, and you can, you know, if you scuba dive or you go under, you can see this whole other world underneath the water that people don't even know exist. Shanghai says, when I saw the pretty big Asian range, I knew I probably wasn't going to get my setup, and I was right. Not trading today nor tomorrow. Good plan, man. On EU. Dunamis, feelings are indicators of what you believe about a circumstance. Pretty much. But what you believe can be wrong, and your feelings can be wrong, and that's the biggest danger, is that your feelings can be wrong. They can just be completely wrong. All right, here on this 15-minute, what do I see? The question is, do I want to aim for this lower return? I think I like the 30-minute setup the best. Seeing a pullback into a premium off of this leg down. I think I like that play better. On Eurodollar. So I'm going to set this trade up. Wrong mouse. Got to get on my other machine here. Get on the MT5 terminal. I'm going to let this 15-minute candle finish before I get this set up. I just got some orders set, but I haven't clicked a sell limit or anything yet. So I'm going to wait about 5 more minutes, and then we'll see what we get. Cold Gamer says, exactly, doesn't matter if you die, it only matters if you kill more than you die. Basically, yes. LOL, sup, Brad, sorry for being late. There was no electric power here. Oh, man, what happened to your electric power? How did you lose electricity? I think Lake Lanier in Georgia is like that. Maybe it is Lake Lanier. Could be. Victor, Aussie dollar possible OTE, I think. Maybe I will go look at Aussie dollar. LOL, today was a good day. I made more than 3% in 3H trade. I caught the whole GU London expansion. I posted the chart on Discord. Way to go, LOL. That was the GU trade was absolutely beautiful. It was super clean. So glad you caught that. We'll go look at Aussie dollar. AUD, USD here. Let's see. You've got, there's your breaker already displaced through. Not really super clean there, but you might have an OTE entry potential. I mean, yeah, I mean, you just draw a fib. You could target, I would want it to get back above 50%, maybe back into that top fair value gap at that OTE level. If you're looking for sells, which I would be since I'm bullish on the dollar. This 4-hour candle is about to close here. DXY. All right, a couple more minutes. I like this 30-minute setup. I'm going to go ahead and click the sell limit here. All right, and then I'll put in my entries. 064. My entry is 06457. 06637 is the stop, and the TP is 06037. There we go. I don't know why it's that big. Why is it? Wait, that's not right. It only needs to be up here. Let me adjust that. Oh 06079 is where it should be. We'll just do 06075. That's fine. There we go. All right, sell limit is set there on euro dollar. I'm going to make sure it's copied over onto my other accounts here. Oh 0609. Oh, what was it? 060. Yeah. There we go. There's that one, and then one more. Gosh. Bear with me. I'll be with you in a minute. Just trying to make sure everything is where I want it to be. My gosh. All right. I was actually on the wrong count when I did that, so I wasn't paying attention. So now I got to redo it on the other account. Not the 10K to 2 million account. All right, now we're all set. There we go. And I'm going to put this here we go. Posted. And we'll see if we can get our entry triggered there. All right. Orders are set. Now we wait. And I guess now would be a good time to put some little emojis on the screen, maybe. We could always put our little magnet right here. We don't want a super big magnet today. Just enough just enough to get it in. Pull it up a little bit higher. And then we can use the wind to... whoops. Nope. What the heck? There we go. Just push. Gosh, dang it. Come on, be a professional, Brad. There we go. Got the emojis on the screen. So we'll see what happens now. We'll see. We should be okay now that the emojis are there to protect us. John says, yes, there's an abandoned village called Ironton under the water, but the water is so dirty you can't see anything. Also near Bagnall Dam, there are catfish as big as small cars. No way, dude. That'd be kind of cool to see. Sime says, at last, market is moving after FOMC, liking it so far. Yeah, I like this. I like this setup. It's a 30-minute setup. We've had a run of liquidity. We've had a trade through. This was violated, left behind a fair value gap. Hopefully we can get an entry. It's tapped up into that breaker. I would like to see it come up into that fair value gap as we enter into the 9 o'clock hour. That would be my preference. That new 4-hour candle is going to open, put in a top wick, and then we can drop. Are you trying to say my name is Lowell? X Twitter update. Cool Gamer Vin, I managed to re-backtest my data, and right now I'm averaging 8 trades a month with 6 wins, 2 losses. That's a great backtest session, man. That's a great win rate, and that's about how many trades you should be looking to take in a month. Is somewhere between 8 to 12 trades a month. I think is very reasonable if you have a good, consistent strategy and edge. That sounds about right. What tool did you use to backtest? I use FX Replay. I'm not sure what Cool Gamer used, but I use FX Replay. US 30 is clean using my model. It can be. Right now, there's no good setup there. You would need a pretty severe pullback. And maybe you get it. You could potentially use this breaker here. But right now, yesterday, let's see, overnight, you ran these highs displaced. You just didn't get a good pullback into that. It does give setups, but typically I don't like to use the indexes until after the 9:30 US Open there. Oh, on the 30-minute on US 30? Maybe if you're considering this as your breaker, you might be able to get an entry here off of that breaker potentially, yes. Ran by side, displaced through. This would have been a really clean breaker. You just didn't get a pullback right here into that fair value gap. But I guess technically you could use this as a breaker. Displacement through. Maybe back up into this fair value gap here. Potentially. The indexes have tapped into this BPR, so this is the lower time frame, or this is the higher time frame draw of liquidity from off of this rejection here. Could reject here and just bounce around, which it's been doing for the last couple weeks, several weeks. So not that it can't come down any further, but if it did come back up in here, maybe you get another pullback one more time into that. Anyone else getting only 144p video quality? It was full HD a few minutes ago. I don't know. I haven't changed anything on mine end. I think everything on my stream that I monitor on looks fine. Yeah, no one wants to get in the water with catfish that are as big as cars. They're definitely going to swallow you whole. Cool Flamer. I did at one time call him Cool Flamer. Oh, man. All right, y'all. I'm going to take a quick little nature calls break here as we head into the 9 o'clock hour. We'll stay on and see if we can get triggered in. But let me go take care of some business and I'll be right back. All right. Into the 9 o'clock hour. Hopefully we get a little pop up here and we can get a little push. Get that dollar to run up into these highs today. That would be the plan. 4-hour candle has opened here. So we should get a little pump up, get a top wick put in here on the 4-hour. And then we'll look to get a bottom wick put in. We are triggered in. It doesn't show it on TradingView, but I am triggered in on this trade. It does not show it on TradingView, but my MT Vive has been triggered in there. Let me check the other accounts just to see. Yep, triggered in there. And triggered in there. All right, so we're live on all accounts. We're in a trade here. Even though it doesn't show it on TV, it is live here. So now we sit and watch and wait. Oh, we need to flip our emojis around now. We need to flip those around. We need to get the wind blowing down and get our magnet big and flip it around here. That's what we need. That's what we need. We need some stronger wind though, I think. Into the fair value gap, back into the breaker, tapping into the 30-minute order block, and we're at the OTE level. So I like the confluence here. I like the setup. I feel good about it. Now at this point, there's nothing left to do. There's absolutely nothing left to do here. This trade is either going to hit our stop loss and we're going to lose. We're going to be able to move to break even, or we're going to be able to get a TP today. And I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't care. Here's the emotional side of trading from this point on. There's nothing left to do. My trading plan and my trading system are completely set. There's nothing left to do. So, it's the only thing I have left to do. The only decision I have left to make is where am I going to move to break even? And if I take out this low right here, I'll move to break even. If price begins to retrace and takes out that low, I will move to break even. And if it does, in anything before that, there's nothing left to do. If price is coming up into my stop loss, I'm not going to freak out. If it's coming close to, tapping us out, I don't care. It's going to do whatever it's going to do. I just don't give a crap. The trade fits my plan. I executed it. It's in line with my higher time frame bias. It's in line with my draw and liquidity. It's in line with my breaker block strategy. Everything lines up. So now I just execute. And if it takes the loss, it takes the loss. There's nothing else to do. Not one thing. Except wait. That's it. My preference is that if we're going to take a stop, my preference is that it just runs it hard and aggressively. That's my preference always. I don't want to sit around in a trade and just ramble back and forth and get caught in just chop all day. If I'm going to be wrong, I want to be wrong right away. That's really what I want, is to be wrong right away. So if it's going to be wrong, this is where it's going to be wrong, and just tell me and rip the Band-Aid off. And if it's going to be right, sometimes right can take longer, and that's okay too. But my preference is that it's wrong right away. Jump back over here in the chat, see what I missed. Third world countries, sudden power outages is a normal thing. I can't imagine living with that. That would be extremely frustrating. Red Ezekiel, Shanghai 20, I've experienced it too. Had to manually select to higher P. Oh, you're talking about the frame rate or get something. I use mobile data. Can't stay long because data is so expensive here. God, that would be so frustrating. I'm so sorry you guys are in that situation. Brad's got to see a man about a horse. That coffee, man, that coffee hits, and sometimes you just got to go do what you got to do. Can you change candle color on FX Replay? I believe you can. I believe you can do all of the same chart settings that you have on TradingView. You can manipulate the chart, I think, like that. Hey, pups. Good morning. Oh, that's all we need is Kirby to come down and ruin this trade for us. Hey, babe. Ethiopia. Oh, my goodness. Nothing left to do except adjusting emojis. That's right, Ashok. It's all in the emojis' hands right now. It's all in the emojis' hands. I'm reading for buy side liquidity before entering short. Yeah, I did note that earlier in this stream. We have relative equal highs up here, and that's the only thing that I don't like. I do think the London high is in place and should be protected. It took out the Asian high, and I believe that will be, I think the Asian low is this Asian high and Asian low. I think we took out the Asian high and reversed. So I'm anticipating a move lower into that Asian low, but we'll see. No need for the market to burn slowly. If it's going to burn, it should do it instantly. Yeah. Typically, when it wants to run a stop, it's going to run it pretty aggressively. I just want to see some dollar strength here at this point. The last emoji trade, what did we say? Last emoji trade. I think the last emoji trade was break even, so I don't know that it's a great strategy. Kirby is the profit destroyer. Listen to him over here gagging his head off trying to destroy our trade. This was the original 15-minute breaker that we identified right here inside that 5-minute fair value gap. Yeah, I mean, we're just chilling now. There's nothing to do. The trade's been triggered in, and now we just We can sit here and chat. I'll probably stay on for another 10 minutes or so, and then we'll call it and just monitor this in Discord and on Twitter from here on out for the rest of the day. Victor says, shout out to my guy from Ethiopia. I'm in Kenya. We have a pretty good African contingent here on the stream, which is crazy to me. Put some metal bars at the place of the wind. I don't know, does it have a wall? Is there a wall emoji? I don't know that there is. There's animals, food. It's a rock climber, like sports. Transportation. There's a, we could put in like a barricade. I don't know where it would go, though. I don't know where to put the barricade. Dunamis Crypto, South African here, but I live west of Texas in California. How's California doing these days? I guess it depends on where you live in California. It could be really good or it could be really bad. Dumbbells to weight it down, maybe. An anchor. Does it have an anchor? Is there an anchor anywhere? I don't know. It doesn't let you search in TradingView. Oh, it has stickers, icons. I didn't even look at the stickers, but these stickers are kind of cool. I need Icy Candleslayer to be quiet, man. I don't need him to be speaking that bad juju into my trade right now. Petrol on fire. Burn it to the ground. Unfortunately, in the U.S., African history is sorely neglected. I know the capital of Ethiopia is Addis Ababa. When I was much younger, I got a part-time job working as a country radio DJ. Where are you going with this? That's the most two random thoughts in a chat stream, John. Surely there's more to this story. We got plenty of options now. Yeah. I nailed the audition because I could read Addis Ababa without stuttering or faltering. I did. I just finished it. You put the ellipsis, the ... So I was anticipating more. But it was just funny that you stopped right there. Cool Gamer says when studying history, it mentioned close to nothing about African history. I don't remember doing a lot of African history stuff in school here, but I mean, was there there was European history, but it was really built around all the world wars. It wasn't like necessarily like European history or Russian history or China history. So I would think countries focus on their own individual histories, not other countries' histories. So I don't know. LOL says, yeah, I live in Addis Ababa. It's one of those corrupted countries, and I want to leave my country as soon as I can. Sorry you're in that situation, my friend. And I hope at one point it gives you the opportunity to leave if you can. John says this may be why I don't really like country music. I am not a country music fan, Bo. I like Chris Stapleton is really the only country music guy, and I don't even know if you could consider him country music. It's more like Southern rock. Because country music today is just horrible. It's disgusting. All right, so what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to set an alert down here. And that's if we get down into that area, I'll probably move to break even. Otherwise, there's really not much to do. I'll set an alert up here near the stop loss. And then I'm just going to let it go, and it's going to do whatever it's going to do. So we've identified what we want to see happen. We're just letting the trade play out now at this point. So the late great John Candy. Cool Runners was a great the Jamaican bobsled team. That's what we were talking about, right? That was Cool Runner. I thought it was Cool Running. I don't know what. Maybe I'm getting my movies messed up. Put another shrimp on the bobby. That's the one. All right, y'all. Good stream today. Tomorrow we're going to be giving away a 10K account to one of our lucky viewers. I'll post on Twitter what time that giveaway is going to happen, but it will probably be it'll probably after the news hits, so maybe like around 9 a.m. or something like that, or whatever it is. I don't know. But follow this. We'll post our trade update here on Twitter and on Discord, so you guys make sure you're following along so you can see how the trade plays out that we've got going on today. And we'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. live on the stream. And we'll see what we see. But until then, you guys stay safe. Have a great rest of your day or evening, wherever you're at. But happy hunting, and we will catch you guys in the morning. Adios, y'all.